Welcome back to this already the final segment of today's Price of Business on this Monday morning. I hope you had a great 4th of July weekend. I'm glad to be back, though. I always look forward to spending time with you. Do you want to mention some of the great articles that you can find over at priceofbusiness.com? And we've been talking to some of the authors of those articles. We got several columns by who we affectionately call Super Julie Braun. She's with a company called Super Interns. Articles by Michael Kleinman of Mason Eyewear, Billy Gignalant of Parties That Cook, Tim Sekou of the Leading Edge in Social Media Aggregation, and Ken Leroux, as well as several others. Dan Abate, contributor over at priceofbusiness.com. He's got some great articles as well. So we are rich in articles, incredible the new content we've added, and I want to encourage you to check it out. And speaking of new content, I'm delighted to have Shereen Thor. She also, we have an interview with her over at priceofbusiness.com. And Shereen, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Oh, I'm so well. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. And looking at awakentherebel.com, and you look like, in your video, you look like a rebel.
Do I?
Yeah, you've got that rebel look about you. It's pleasant, but I can see a little bit of rebel there. So tell us about yourself first, and then about Awaken the Rebel.
All right, sure. Well, I am a little girl who lives over in Venice Beach. I run Awaken the Rebel, which is a movement and a business. And ultimately, it started because I was raised in a very traditional Egyptian family that expected me to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. And I'm a little too rebellious for that, though I didn't figure it out until I had my quarter-life crisis and had my Awaken the Rebel moment. And then I quit a master's degree, started doing stand-up comedy, started getting scouted by MTV and E and all kinds of cool stuff, and then realized I just really want to inspire and help people have the same awakening I did. And so that's really how Awaken the Rebel started.
Very good, very good. So tell us a little bit about the scope and size of the kind of businesses that you work with.
Okay, definitely. So we do kind of there's two sort of legs of the business. One, we work with one-on-one clients. We do live events, that kind of thing. So we help people to have their own awakening and create the businesses that they like and they love so that they're not stuck in a 9-to-5 cubicle. And then we also do consulting with businesses that are typically of a similar size and scope. So maybe about 10 employees or 10 contractors. And they're usually a global company that has some sort of message or movement. I'm very connected with the industry of coaching. So it's kind of like the Tony Robbins type, but maybe on a smaller scale.
Okay. So what would be a large-size company that you would work with? How big is as big as you typically get?
That's a good question. I think the biggest I've ever worked with was between 40 and 50 employees.
Okay. So you definitely gravitate towards small-sized businesses.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of the idea that with this Internet age and the amount that you can get done with the cool resources we have now, that you could do more with less. And so you get to have the kind of lifestyle you want, which keeps you out of workaholic mode and into, quality of life, good amount of time with your family, taking care of your health, all that kind of stuff. So oftentimes that ends up being the type of person who wants to keep it small so they don't have too much to manage.
Yeah, I would say that the small business in some ways has it even more difficult to not be in workaholic mode than the larger corporations, because with the larger corporations there are so many checks and balances and people overseeing things that to a certain extent it's sometimes more manageable, whereas the smaller the company, the more the hats are being worn and the bigger the question, did I really take care of that, whatever that is.
That's definitely a good point you bring up, and to a large degree it's very true. Oftentimes when I work with people, I get very clear on, what it is that they actually want for their lives first. So if freedom's a really high priority, then we sort of create the business around that high priority. If it's not, then they can get very into every detail of the company and be 100% workaholic, and it's no big deal because it's not going to compromise their happiness. So you're right that it definitely can go that way, although there's ways to avoid that.
So what does it mean to you when you're trying to, I'm looking at your site, I looked at your bio page, and a big emphasis on freedom, And when I think of rebelling, I think that is usually for the idea of rebelling against the oppression we're facing, whatever that is, much of which in the business world is self-imposed. But what is that value you're trying to emulate to your clients, and what do you see your clients actually seeking, when it comes to that?
That's a good question. I mean, the value I'm really trying to emulate is sort of this idea that you get to choose life the way you want it. Like I said, I'm the first generation of Egyptian family, so my mom and dad immigrated from a third world country where they actually don't really get to choose what kind of life they want. And so it's really important to me to sort of honor my parents for the sacrifices they made and the trouble that they went through to get over here, to really make it make sense that they went through all that trouble. And to me, that means capitalizing on this opportunity for freedom and living the kind of life that you want. So ultimately, I'm not necessarily wanting to impose any particular agenda on people. It's really sort of the idea that, rebel is like my sexy way of saying listen to your inner voice or listen to your inner spirit, because there is a part of you that knows that you do have a higher calling. So for me, I used to work in a cubicle. I graduated college, and I did the normal 4-year degree, got a job, and just felt completely miserable. I think a lot of that was because I did not realize that I was wired to be an entrepreneur, and I didn't feel encouraged in my family to go after being an entrepreneur. So I was trying to sort of fit a square peg in a round hole, if you will. So my message is really, don't fit a square peg in a round hole. Let's figure out who you are, what you're about, and let's make your career and your business fit you.
So your clients all over the country, or are they in certain parts of the country? Do you work with them virtually? Talk a little bit about that.
They are definitely all over the country. We've gone as far as Bulgaria and Germany and, all over the U.S. I have clients in New Jersey and Texas. And I do work virtually. I have a home office in Venice Beach that I work out of. And I do an annual live event at the Radisson by LAX here in every January. And I also do sort of a mid-year check-in with a lot of clients where we go to some sort of super sexy destination to check in on their goals and how they're doing. Last year we did Cancun. Next year is to be determined. So there are in-person things that do occur, and those are in various spots in the world. But for the most part, I work virtually, and I use really cool tools on the Internet to do that.
Very cool. I love it. Shereen Thor, she's been our guest today. Delighted to have her on today's program. Also, do want to mention again, great articles both about her as well as some other interesting content that you're going to want to check out exclusively over at priceofbusiness.com. Shereen Thor, thanks for being with us.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. And for the people who are listening, awakentherebel.com would be where they can get free coaching and training if they want to. And, I love what you're doing. It's amazing. So thank you, too.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. When you go to awakentherebel.com, you'll see that great video. It's excellent. You did a great job. The camera loves you.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. When we come back tomorrow, we're going to have much more for you. I hope you continue to enjoy recovering from your holiday weekend, the 4th of July. And I hope you make it a very productive day for you today. I'm Kevin Price. Do want to remind you best content's over there at usgatorreview.com. We'll see you soon right here on The Price of Business.